Hello, my friends. Welcome back and happy Valentine's Day. If you're listening live, it's February 14th, and we're continuing on the theme of love and romance and self love with my special little spin on it this month. And today I want to talk about self love in the respect of dating yourself. Now, this is important whether you are in a romantic partnership or you are single. I really want to talk about the importance of learning to date and be with yourself and your feelings and your thoughts as an alcohol free woman. This is something that has been so instrumental to my success and my ability to tap into my authenticity, my ability to heal and grow, my ability to gain confidence in myself, my ability to self regulate. And so I want to give you some challenges around and some perspective around self love and dating yourself today and offer you a little bit of inspiration moving forward. So, dating yourself can come in all different formats, and I know that this is not something that I was willing to practice when I was in my party girl persona. I always wanted to be surrounded by people. I always wanted to have a buddy to tag along with. I was not really someone who liked to spend a lot of time alone with myself, because when I was alone and I didn't have anything to do and my mind was void of thought, that's when my mind could start to wander, and that's when I could start to worry and really just obsess over thoughts. That's when I could become self-critical. That's when I would go down obsessive rabbit holes. I would become judgmental of myself and other people. That's when I would use other check out coping mechanisms like social media or reality TV or whatever. And that didn't feel good, to be honest. Like, it felt normal, but it didn't feel great. I didn't feel like my highest vibe self when I was doing those things. So when I stopped drinking and I, had to renegotiate my social time a little bit, which you have all experienced or will experience too, I realized I had these gaps of time that I could fill with lots of different things, which was really wonderful, but it was also kind of intimidating because I had spent years and years making my only real hobby my social life. And so I had to take some time to tap back in and realize and decide and learn, what is it that I really like to do? What is it that I'm really interested in? And that was a little intimidating because I'd spent so many years disconnected from that idea of having hobbies and really just nurturing my creativity and nurturing my own desires. And this is probably feeling very real and visceral for you right now, especially for those of you that are mothers and have also, you know, um, placed a part of your identity in building your family and holding space for your children and your potentially your partner and your household, which is a whole other wonderful and miraculous thing. So I want to be very clear that this is coming from the perspective of someone who is single and non-partnered at this point. And so I might have a few advantages of time that you might not perceive to have, but I also want to tell you that the bulk of specifically my one-on-one clients are high achieving, women who are full-time employed and have a family. So I'm also coming with a lot of knowledge from that perspective as well. So I don't want you to discount anything and say, well, there's just no way that I can do it. I don't have the same life as you, Amanda. So I want to call that out and tell you that this is coming with a lot of knowledge from that other perspective as well. So let's talk about dating yourself, what that looks like. If you follow me on social media, which I hope you do, at Amanda Kuda on Instagram, you will see I'm always taking myself out on little coffee shop dates, or sometimes I take myself on very intentional evening dates where I go out all by myself. And I really try to romanticize my life a little bit more and really treat myself as I would want to be treated by a romantic partner. And that's important for you, even if you have a romantic partner, because you need to respect and love and care for and show up for yourself in the same way that you expect another person to do so. And so when it comes to dating yourself and finding a little time to spend with yourself, I want to acknowledge the first barrier that's going to come, which is this maybe underlying fear of just spending time alone, the underlying fear of not being productive, not getting up and doing something that has some sort of monetizable or domestic value, of maybe sometimes investing in yourself, spending money and putting money on your own self-worth and on your own growth and on your own expansion. Those things can be very, very something that is very scary for our brains if we haven't been used to doing it. And then the third is just showing up and sometimes doing things alone when we've been used to surrounding ourselves with kind of chaotic environments, with our peers, with our friends, and when we've been used to using liquid courage to numb down the intensity of a situation. So those three things can be very, very prominent. And I just want to call attention to them because it's likely that you'll start to experience them and have to fight through it and have to just rip off the Band-Aid or sometimes the wax strip, as I like to say, and just do it. So when we start to make this commitment to date ourselves, and I hope that you will make a commitment to do this in some little way by the end of this episode, I'm going to give you a ton of ways that this has been very helpful for me and why, and in a lot of different ways that you can do it. Starting with very, very small little pieces that aren't super intimidating to bigger pieces. And I'd really like for you to spend some time thinking about what brings me joy. What is it that puts a smile across my face? What are things that I enjoy doing? Ways that I enjoy showing up in the world? What are some ways in which people tell me I have special gifts or special skills? And how can I invest some of my time in that and cultivating that skill? And this is like flexing the dating muscle. And then how can I spend some time with myself? So, some examples of how you might date yourself. One is finding time to cultivate a skill or a hobby that you have kind of left on the shelf before. Yesterday, I was on the phone with one of my clients, and she's very funny. She's very witty, and she has like this quick, sharp-witted skill. And I said, you know what? I have a self love challenge for you. You can research it, but I think that it would be really cool if you take it on. What if you took a comedy class? What if you took a stand up class? And she was a little hesitant, but more than hesitant, I could see a light in her eyes that she was like, wow, no one's ever like offered me to do that. No one's ever suggested or challenged me to do that. And that's kind of that I could see the exhilaration in her. There was fear, but behind the fear and more prevalent in the fear was this exhilaration. And it's this permission slip to explore something on a bigger level that you maybe integrate in your day-to-day life. Like she integrates these splashes of humor, but has she really ever given herself a place to cultivate it and actually grow it and say, this could be something I actually do and identify as someone who does comedy, someone who is funny? And so I gave her several different challenges around that to explore because she is a newer mom and has invested a lot of time in the past couple of years creating a home and nurturing her little one. And so these are really important places where we can step back out and find pieces of our identity. And I could just see this piece of identity within her ready to get out. And she had no real place to actually cultivate it and have someone to kind of like massage and refine that skill and applaud her for having it. Right. So I want you to consider, is there a special skill or an interest or something that I have that I can invest some time in cultivating? So for me, it's one of those skills is fitness and dance. I love to move my body. And a lot of that time is spent in a very practical sense at the gym, just doing my weekly movement. But then sometimes I treat myself to a little hip hop class, and I love doing that. It cultivates this desire that's been in me since I was a very little girl to dance and move. And I'm just fascinated by dance. And I think that I'm a pretty good dancer when I'm practiced. And getting back in there is also intimidating. I will tell you the story of the first time I took myself on a dance date. It was, I think, the year I quit drinking. No, 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 no. It was the year right after, I bet. And so I made it through the whole year alcohol free. And then that next January, I committed to, I really want to start cultivating these skills and bring in some of this stuff. So I was doing this exact same challenge along with you. And so I booked a hip hop class. I think I booked there was like 3 levels, and I think I booked intermediate. And it was kind of later at night, maybe like 7 or 8 o'clock, which was later for me because after I stopped drinking, I really started to want to go to bed and nourish myself and really take care of my body. And so it was really pushing it on the cusp. And I walk into this dance class, and it's all people in their early to mid 20s. Like they're wearing like crop tops and these little hip hop outfits. And I'm 31 at this time, and I look frumpy compared to these kids. And I'm just like, okay, no, it's okay. I got this. I've grew up a dancer. I took dance class through college. It's like riding a bicycle, no big deal. So I positioned myself legitimately like center of the room. I was so confident. And the teacher starts teaching, and I could not have been more lost. And I just felt my heart breaking and shattering into a million pieces because she didn't teach in quite the style that I was used to. And it was really fast paced class. And I was just getting back on my feet. And all of these young pups were going so fast and like looking so fluid. And I just remember standing in the center of the room thinking, I wonder how quickly I can get over to the cubby and out the door without anyone noticing. And I wanted to quit so bad. And granted, I've never been back to that specific class with that specific teacher because I just don't think she teaches in my style. But I was so humbled. And yet I still go because I knew that I would find a teacher and a class and a style that would resonate with me. And I did. And I try to make that part of my daily, well, not daily, part of my frequent self-love practice where I'm dating myself. I'm doing something for myself. I'm showing love and interest and desire for myself. I'm enjoying being in my body and being with my body and using my talents and skills. Like I think that cultivating those skills like comedy, dance, maybe your skill is cooking, whatever it is, whatever your passion is, maybe it's reading or writing or something. I think that is incredibly sexy. And having a hobby and doing something, investing time in something you love and growing a skill, that is so attractive. And I hope that you start to find attraction to yourself and your ability to do these things. And it's only going to make you more radiant to not only romantic partners, current, future, or whatever, but also friends and colleagues. You are going to start to radiate this level of self-appreciation and self-knowing that you didn't have before. And it's going to attract different energy from people once you start loving and dating yourself a little bit more. Okay. So there's these dates that you can go on that really challenge and cultivate a skill or a desire that you have. And I think those are amazing. And most of the time, those do require a little bit of a commitment. And sometimes they can be very humbling when you start out, but it will be worth it because there is no time that I feel more alive than when I've left a dance class. Like it just makes me feel so good. And I want you to have that feeling with whatever it is that you do, knowing that there will be times that you fall down early on, and don't feel like it's really that it's like riding a bicycle, or you don't feel like it's your special skill, but you know that it's something you want to cultivate. You have to keep going. The next type of date that I encourage you to incorporate are legitimate dates where you take yourself out and you treat yourself. It doesn't mean you have to go to, a five-star restaurant and go out to the fanciest place, but I do like sometimes dressing up and taking myself out for dinner and having these little moments where I'm just enjoying my time with myself and having a beautiful meal. And that could look like early on, if you're feeling a little intimidated, just taking yourself to the movies, taking yourself on a movie date all alone and enjoying that moment. It might look like, probably about once a month, I would say, I take myself out for a proper dinner. I get dressed up. I like everything. I put on perfume, jewelry, nice underwear, nice outfit, and I do my hair and makeup and I go out. And a lot of the times I do sit at the bar. I sit at the bar top just because I think it's more practical and because I'm not triggered at all by the presence of alcohol around me. Typically, I end up having a great conversation with someone around me, or at the least, sometimes having a fun conversation with the bartender. I get myself a mocktail, a beautiful meal. I do allow myself to take my like Kindle or a book because I know that sometimes it can be very intimidating just sitting there and eating in silence. And I'd rather have a book with me than be scrolling on my phone. So I do try to take something with me that will allow me to just really have this cute little romantic moment. And a book feels more like that than scrolling on social media. So I encourage you to do that sometimes. Take yourself on these dates where you're really having some time alone with your thoughts, with yourself, without alcohol. And if you feel that that would be tempting, then maybe go someplace that doesn't even serve alcohol. Go to someplace that's a little more casual, or sit in the middle of the restaurant if that feels better. Or at least maybe just start with a breakfast or a lunch date that's a little less intimidating. And you can work your way up to these solo dinner dates where you're really spending some time with yourself. And you might not have the ability to do it as frequently as I do, but I know that once you do this, you cultivate this skill of spending some time with yourself, you're really going to learn a lot about yourself. Sometimes also I'll throw in, I take my journal. I actually have a journal that I keep in my car that's there all the time with a pin. That way, if I decide to stop somewhere and I don't have my computer or something with me, I decide to just stop for a meal or stop to get a tea or a coffee, I can sit down and journal. And that's actually been a really beautiful process, especially on a beautiful day. That's when I'll typically do it. I'll typically just say, wow, it's so beautiful. I just want to sit outside on a patio for a moment and enjoy a tea or a coffee. And so I'll take my journal and I'll spend some time with myself and my thoughts, or I'll go sit in the park and spend some time with myself and my thoughts. And I just hope that you can find the value in doing this because as drinkers, we've spent so many days, so many years, so many hours trying to escape those thoughts, trying to escape being with ourselves, trying to surround ourselves with other people or activities or keep busy. And I just want to give you the permission slip, dear friend, that it's okay just to be with yourself. It's okay not to be productive, not to do anything that's monetizable, to freaking invest some money and some time and some energy in yourself. I want you to have those moments. I really want to encourage you to do those things that might seem a little frivolous with your time, with your energy, and really just love up on yourself. And I have so many other activities that I would love to share, but I really want to keep this concise and really encourage you to spend some time dating yourself. And if you are up for the challenge, I'm actually doing a full challenge on this inside of my new Unbottled potential membership. And a challenge includes some fun prizes. I'm going to give away some really cool tarot and astrological readings to the members of my group who participate in the challenge. So if you want in, DM me or look down in the show notes. You can join at amandakuda.com/membership. It's super accessible, really great way to join in and have monthly lessons with me where I expand a little bit more than I do here on the show, and join in with a community of really amazing women who are traveling an alcohol-free path. But if you just do this in general, if you take yourself on a date, tag me, take a picture, tag me on Instagram, and tell me what you did on your self date. Tell me what you did to cultivate a skill, love up on yourself, take yourself out for dinner, show me where you were at. I would love, love, love to see you completing the self love um, challenge. And it's not just something you're doing this month, it's something I want you to do on an ongoing basis, but do it now, quickly, rip off that wax strip, get out there and do it. And let me know when you've accomplished it. I would love to cheer for you and support you and encourage you to keep loving yourself, because that is only going to fill your cup up more and cause it to spill over so you have so much more love and energy to give. If this was helpful for you, I would love to hear more feedback. You can always catch me over on Instagram. I'm at Amanda Kuda, and I love you so much. I'm so proud of you for being here. If no one has told you, you are so worthy and valuable and beautiful and talented, and you have so much to give to this world. And I am so glad to be any part of the catalyst that encourages you to do so. So get out there, love yourself, date yourself, and check back here next week. Happy Valentine's Day.